Hello there, Basement Gamers. Dupsaw here from the Basement Gamer Bros. Today I'd like to talk about Grand Theft Auto 6, and don't worry, this won't be one of those, as Ned Luke puts it,
Boss man, fuck the world
kind of videos. Why am I making this video? As you've probably noticed, we haven't had a new GTA for almost 10 years. Yeah, kind of a dry spell, right? Well, in that time we've had a handful of quote-unquote leaks, which may be complete shit, but also may contain some truths. 10 years and we haven't had a single bit of real information from Rockstar Games, apart from the fact that they've confirmed the games are development. So, today I'd like to go through some of the more realistic leaks in the last few years and try to come up with some conclusion or summary or theme to see if anything matches up. Let's call it a roundup of all the leaks that have seemed legit in the past 10 years. So then, the first big leak that got people's attention was Project Americas, or codename Project Americas, which was posted on Gaming Leak Rumors subreddit and outlined a story based in Vice City, Liberty City, Brazil, a large prison, and other possible South American locations. Just a quick note, leaks of this nature are always terribly hard to believe, since they're just messages written on a forum or social platform by a random user claiming to be a leaker. Please take everything I say in this video as unconfirmed. But leaker aside, let's break down and summarise the actual leak itself. The information within this post claims that GTA 6 has been in active development since 2012, which overlaps with GTA 5's release of 2013, and probably matches when GTA 5 should have been released before it was delayed. Development was slow until Red Dead Redemption 2 was wrapping up. Parts of the story take place in Vice City, Liberty City, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, and Cuba. The information claims there will be only one protagonist this time around, a young adult male named Ricardo. The game will be set in the 1970s and the 1980s. Buildings, vehicles, fashion and economy will change when the years change from the 70s to the 80s. Ricardo is an up-and-coming drug dealer with dreams of becoming a drug lord. Other key characters include Casey and the Madrazo family. Ricardo runs a coke business between Vice City and South America for the drug lords during the story, gaining new contacts and connections as they expand. Parts of the story are set in the large prison mentioned earlier. There will be multiple cities, there will be an empire building mechanic like the businesses in Vice City. The only weapons you can have are the ones you can carry, no more total war arsenal within your pocket. And the story writing was in part influenced by the Netflix show Narcos. So what is my thoughts on this information? Well, Vice City is probably a safe bet since it's one of the major cities still yet to be recreated in high definition. Current GTA games have switched to modern day. Maybe there will be elements of that in GTA 6, but personally I think 70s and 80s era seemed too good to miss if they did revisit Vice City. The coke smuggling business seems like a go-to activity in that era, so it would make sense. Very possible a reliable leak. Nothing screams too fake or too ambitious to me. Usually you can tell when something is fake, there's way too many details and things that would be impossible for one person to recall, but as with all leaks, you never know. However, I do find the A's narrative very specific, either very bizarre or fake information, or something to look out for in the future. Who knows? The Cuban crisis is a little cliche, but the original Vice City was all cliche and it was good. I love Scarface and any reference to that will also be good. In March 2018, YouTube game journalist Inside Gaming released an episode of The Know on their channel, providing us with information from a trusted insider confirming that GTA 6 was codenamed Project Americas. They go on to say that the game will be set in Miami, aka Vice City, and the reason for the name Project Americas is because you'll be able to fly between USA and South America whilst on missions. And the last piece of information that their insider provided was that the protagonist isn't finalised yet and could be a female, possibly multiple protagonists. So my first thoughts are, how credible is this source? Game journalists don't tend to present information like this unless absolutely sure their source is a legitimate insider and not just a random Joe off the internet. But as the years go on, any scoop is a scoop, I guess. My feelings though is that this is a legitimate leak, vague enough to be a passing question and doesn't give away too much. This next leaker, named GTA 6 Leak, claims to be part of an independent marketing company and posts an extensive so-called leak on Reddit in July 2020. They claim to have been working with Rockstar for the last 18 months and have a lot of knowledge on the story and the scripts. They claim the title of the game is Grand Theft Auto 6 with Roman numerals. Okay, so I'm just going to list off the key information presented here because this is a very long read and incredibly detailed story plot. I'd rather not waste time. So then, there will be 3 playable characters, Ricardo, Casey and Rose. The game is set in present day, maybe set over a few years, but the acts aren't in a linear fashion in terms of time. Think Tarantino style. The first act revolves around a middle-aged male named Ricardo, a drug smuggler in Vice City. The second act revolves around a young adult male named Casey, a criminal based in Casa and Liberty City. The third act introduces Rose, a young female police lieutenant in Vice City. All 3 characters will be playable later in the final act. The map will be the size of Red Dead Redemption 2, GTA 5 combined, consisting of places such as Vice City, Casa City, Liberty City, but not including Alderney, the Floridian swamplands, and an unnamed South American city and wilderness. Traversing these distant places will be done via airport and not directly on the same map. And they go on to list a few generic game mechanics and minigames. My initial thoughts are that this sounds like a piggyback post. What I mean by that is they've heard of Project Americas and they've created very detailed fanfiction based around that. I did not read the story to you because it was a very long read, but the amount of details was just too much. So after evaluation, I'm leaning towards that this one being fake, just because of how damn detailed it is, and someone who has access to the story material shouldn't really also have access to gameplay mechanics as well. I'm sure Rockstar colleagues only know about their specific roles and not much else outside of that, so for an outside source to have this much information is incredibly unbelievable to me. Interestingly though, this leaker is still active on Reddit in 2022 and hasn't been shut down yet. They still continue to support their claims and have answered many questions to fans about this leak. In October of 2019, a post surfaced on the GTA 6 subreddit claiming a scout representing Rockstar Games wanted to photograph their local business. As with all leaks, many people were skeptical in the comments until a couple of days later, the original poster decided to take a picture of the so-called documentation that the scout provided their local business. Their Trinshaw asked for permission to photograph the interiors of the local business in South Florida, as they're scouting for interesting locations. The letter was signed by the location scout manager, but the name is censored. They did however leave Leah's IMDb uncensored at the bottom. You can still make out parts of Leah's last name in the business card at the top of the document, which is Sokolovsky. Sorry if I butchered that. After the document got out into the open, GTA fans did some digging into Leah's online presence. A trusted member of the GTAForums named Len LFC discovered a podcast titled Film Florida Podcast, where Leah is being interviewed about her latest work in Florida. Here, Leah goes on to say, quote, "Recently, as you are aware, we've had changes of types of productions that are coming to our state. So I've also been very fortunate to get a large client that has hired me to arrange basically flight tours and visits. It's a general media company and I've signed an NDA, so I can't disclose who it is, but they've been exploring various cities in our state and other states in the southeast, and I've been planning and arranging those visits for their personnel." My thoughts on this is that this is in fact an accidental leak. Of course it's unconfirmed, but the initial post was vague, the follow-up proof being incredibly elaborate. If this was a hoax, the person went to a lot of effort to research Leah's background before doing so. There was some interesting bits of information there too. Interior scouting in 2019. That makes sense to me. The map scouting would have happened a long time ago. Interiors are usually only created once the story is fleshed out. And scouting in various states in the southwest. That could have been anything though, from North Carolina to Louisiana. But that's a good indication that GTA 6 may not be only in one location. My gut feeling is this leak is real. It's an accidental leak, but it is real. As you're probably aware of, Grand Theft Auto shares the same game engine as Red Dead Redemption 2 and other Rockstar titles like Max Payne 3, the Rage engine to be more specific. And in the past, files like scripts, models and textures from one of these games can be found in another. So it's fairly common for these games to accidentally pick up a file or two from another game. In December 2019, the user Tez2 posted on GTAForums saying that he was looking through the RDR2 files when he came across a reference titled MISC Americas Script Stats, which in a later game patch was changed to just MISC Script Stats. Now, without the Project Americas reference, he probably may have never looked at that twice. For Rockstar to patch out a word Americas that's literally just a reference file is probably a sign that it didn't belong in RDR2. To me, this is clearly another link to corroborate with the Inside Gaming's leak. What other reason would RDR2 have the word Americas within the files? I guess there's a slim chance it could be a reference to Mexico and Middle America, which was not in the second game, but it was in the first. Also found in the RDR2 files, scripts pointed to some modern guns not found in RDR2 or GTA 5, and a skydiving and parachute script too. These don't contribute towards GTA 6's next location, so I won't go on about them anymore, but I'll leave the source credit below. Not only have we had leaks in the form of messages, we've had a fair share of images and maps too. There's been many fakes, but not all of them have been debunked, so I'll only talk about the ones that have been discussed in most detail. The first image is of a crop duster flying above Miami, posted by a Reddit user named Robles in July 2021, claiming he received this image from a high-ranking Rockstar insider. Most people thought it was either the Crew 2 or Microsoft Flight Simulator, but no one has yet to find the exact location and match it for comparison. Also notice the minimap uses the exact same style as the leaked Red Dead Redemption 2 map with the grid numbers on it. However, if it's fake, this person made sure to include the grid minimap because they know Red Dead Redemption 2 fans would recognise it. On the other hand, it could just be how the in-house map looks before they polish it for the players. I've looked at this image many times in detail. I can't with any certainty say if I think it's fake or real, but it does resemble the games mentioned above. I just think someone would have matched the locations by now. This is another image that was also posted by Robots on Reddit, and people quickly said that they were certain that this was taken from the game's city skylines and was quickly categorised as debunked. Does this now discredit the last image? Probably, but I won't feel certain until I've seen a comparison myself. I'll let you guys decide. Let me know in the comments. The next leaked image is from none other than Rockstar Games and Grove Street Games. In San Andreas, there's a location called the Little Probe Inn, which has a wall of photographs all depicting UFO sightings. In the definitive edition of San Andreas, the HD images are all GTA 5 locations depicting UFOs except for one image. Right in the centre there's a little white house in what looks like a Floridian setting. Users over at GTAForums, myself included, started looking for real world counterparts and soon realised that this is a very typical Floridian home. One user found a house that pretty much looked as close as you can get. So why was there a single image depicting Vice City and all the rest of them depicting GTA 5 San Andreas? Was this an intentional attempt at leaving us an Easter egg hinting at the next location? Rockstar have done this before in the past? Or was it simply a mistake by one of the Rockstar or Grove Street Games employees, who just grabbed an image from a library without properly checking where it was from? It's hard to say. My guess is, this is an image taken from GTA 6, whether it's a screenshot or an in-game artwork from a photo frame. It certainly does not belong in GTA San Andreas. Map leaks are a rare thing and not something I expect from GTA 6, not until right before release anyway. We got lucky with Red Dead Redemption 2 and its beta map, but then not many people believed it anyway, not until the proof mounted up from the trailers. Anyway, there's a subgroup of people in the GTA community that also like to make fan maps. So as you can see, these lines sometimes cross, whether it's someone being dishonest or someone else taking a fan map and claiming it's real. You can see how things can start to get messy here. So with that said, I'll only be looking at maps today that have garnered the most discussion. In December 2018, a user by the name of 1985 posted 2 Imager links on their Twitter page, followed by hashtag Vice City and hashtag GTA 6. These images show a half-finished map which looked very simple, almost like a basic fan map, but partially drawn over with satellite quality imagery. Because of the, let's be honest, crappy map beneath, this one slipped by many GTA fans. In October 2019, a user on Reddit named Currylav claimed he knew an insider from Rockstar India who drew him a sketch of the map. The results aren't great, but as you can see, it's the exact same map. After some badly received comments, he said that he would meet with his insider friend, and he did, and took a snap of the map on his friend's laptop when he was in the bathroom, or something along those lines. This image looked essentially identical to the first map a year earlier, with some small changes to the little islands, and what looked like some sort of road or train system to the main island. So I think we have three options here. Either we believe it's a leak and it cooperates with the last map, or it's a fan who picked up the original map and has worked on it some more, or thirdly, it's the same person still trying to work on the original map, just at a different stage, trying to push it out as a different person. Now then, in October 2020, a new satellite-style drawn island cropped up on 4chan, which depicts an island that resembles the same style as the first map. It didn't take long for GTA fans to match them together. This time it got people's attention. Not all positive, of course. The first map had that awful MS Paint style map beneath it, so it's hard to take seriously. But the island did resemble the small Caribbean style island in the lower right corner of the first map. My thoughts on this though is that sadly I feel like this is a fake, but only because as a map artist myself I can see some inconsistencies in the design methods. I can see the flaws compared to real world geography, like how sand and shores interact with the sea. No real island has perfect sand strips all the way around like it's some kind of perfect infinity beach. It just doesn't work like that. But it doesn't mean I'm correct. If this is a leak, which it still could be, this wouldn't have been something that the players would see anyway, so I guess I can give it a little bit of leeway for that. For me, I'm still not convinced because of the inconsistencies. I do find it fascinating that we're seeing the same island pop up again and again though. Either it's a really dedicated faker, or there is some truth found out there. I guess we'll find out when the game comes out. In October of 2020, a new user over at GTAForums named the Mexican from Vice posted an image of a map in the leak analysis topic. It was his one and only post. The image showed two photos of what looks like the same monitor screen with the same map on each. One is blurry and one is clear. The map is of an island named Vestwa Island that looks like something you'd find in a fictional Key West setting. The word Vestwa doesn't seem to translate from any other language relevant, but Vestwa Island, or VI, is probably an intentional hint at the Roman numeral 6. Either side of the island shows Google Map images of Miami and Marquesas Keys, likely reference material. My thoughts on this one aren't great. First of all, the island design is really rough at best. Crudely drawn with a pen tool and a bad attempt at creating a map grid overlaid on top. This is in my opinion a poor attempt at a map. With written message leaks, vague is good, but with map leaks it's almost the opposite. Even if it looks crude, it should have a level of design quality to it like that of the K. Perico's submarine high setup screen. Therefore, I'm going to call this one out as fake. That's just my opinion, don't take it as fact. The next map is an honourable mention. It had everyone wondering when it surfaced on GTAForums, in the form of a shaky camera showing off an in-game pause menu map. It resembles the GTA 5's pause menu interface, and is displayed in action in the exact same way. But it ended up being revealed as a fake by a user named LipDunker04. Dressed as a Joker in a cringy, egotistical video, he showed a breakdown of all the drawings and constructions in a kind of jokery, I trolled you kind of way. It was a good fake, it had many people believing it. He also went as far as to create a Disneyland style satire in a similar way Rockstar would have done it, in the form of a park pamphlet. That's some next level trolling right there. He also claims he'll strike again. The time has come to conclude this video by categorising these leaks into three distinct piles. We have leaks that were just too detailed or went too far of a stretch to be real. Then we have the leaks I would consider believable, but not convincing enough to be sure if they weren't just piggybacking off of other leaks. And finally, the leaks that I would consider to be real. These are either vague details or happy accidents, as Bob Ross would put it. Either way, these were convincing. Judging by my choices, I'm fairly certain that many others share this opinion too, and that's the reason why we're getting so many fan-fake leaks based in Vice City, South America, drug smuggling, etc. Because the vague simplicity of the realistic leaks are enough to convince people to conjure up images and stories of their own. So, in conclusion, I can say that I'm strongly convinced that GTA 6 will likely be set in Vice City and surrounding towns and wilderness, along with a South American themed submap. It will feature some kind of air travel between the USA and South America, and the game will contain building interiors inspired by those in Miami and South Florida. I cannot say which period the game will be set in, but I hope it will feature some part of the 1980s, as it was my favourite. And I feel like at the time that Project Americas was leaked to Inside Gaming, the protagonist truly wasn't set in stone, and there's no way to know who or how many protagonists the game will feature. Also, if you hadn't noticed, all the other interesting leaks I covered in this video today all came after March 2018, which is the date Inside Gaming posted their Project America scoop on YouTube. Kind of funny coincidence, right? All these could just be fanfiction laid on top of each other, based on one single source. Well then, that's one man's opinion. What I believe doesn't mean it's fact, take it as you will. If you have a different perspective, please feel free to share it with me in the comments. If you have any good quality leaks you want to share, then please do. You never know, depending on how long it takes GTA 6 to come out, I could end up making part 2. I've been Dupsor from the Basement Gamer Bros, and until next time, thanks for watching.